Happy New Year, Coram Deo. My kids have been asking me, hey, when are you going to bring back the top 3 things you need to know in 3 minutes or less? That's what I used to do for the weekly update. The answer is not this week, but maybe soon, maybe sometime soon. What I want to do this week is tell you a couple cool stories that we just get to celebrate and enjoy together. Here's the first one. From 2007 to 2011, Coram Deo Church gathered at Sukow Chapel on the campus of Grace University down at 10th and Pine Streets, just south of downtown Omaha. That university went out of business. They sold off their property, and that chapel building that we used to meet in was demolished. And as they were beginning to tear it down, one of our church members, Cole Carpenter, went and got one of the huge support beams that used to hold up the roof of that building and turned it into this amazing bench that I'm sitting on. And then he gave this to our church as a gift. Now, we always say that the church is a people, not a place. You, as a human being, are the most important aspect of what the church is. But I always love when we have artifacts around our building that sort of remind me of the story that God's written here and the history of who we've been and where we've been in the city. So it's just really fun to be sitting on this bench to film this video. Thanks, Cole, for gifting this to our church. And it's fun to remember this is actually a piece of the history of our church. We used to worship Jesus looking up at these beams, holding up the ceiling years ago in the early years of our church. So that's a neat story. You'll see this bench around. It might not always be in this exact location because at least a few people have bumped into it this morning in this particular hallway. But it's a cool story that has to do with our history. Here's another really cool story that we had the opportunity of enjoying this week. I mentioned a month or two ago on this weekly update the partnership that we have with the adoption ministry that we work with, and we provide funding. We set aside funds, and then they issue grants to families who are members of our church who want to adopt kids, and they do all sort of the background work to set up that grant opportunity. This past week, we had 2 opportunities to approve families from Coram Deo Church getting grants from LifeSong to pursue adoption. And so it was really fun for our elders in the past week to be able to say yes to 2 requests to provide grants for families who are looking to adopt children. What a fun thing for us to do, especially at this time of year. It's one of the fun things the elders get to do is to approve grants and give away money and make opportunities for people to pursue those kinds of things. So thanks to LifeSong. We appreciate our partnership with them, and wanted you to be able to celebrate that story, that a couple more families in our church are getting ready to head down that road and are receiving grant funds made available by your generosity as a church family. Excited to be here in a new year, even though it's a cold morning to be kicking off the year. But we'll be back in the Gospel of John starting next week, and looking forward to being with you then. So have a great week, and I'll see you next Sunday for another weekly update.